Alright everyone, I wanted to go through all of the penalties from yesterday at the Qatar Grand Prix because there were so many of them. I don't think I've seen this many penalties in a race for some time now. The last one I can think of that had this many penalties was probably Austria last year. But the thing with Austria was that it was all for the same thing. It was all for track limits. These were all for crashes, safety car infringements, speeding in the pit lane, breaking the rules when it came to yellow flags as well. There were so many of them. So I wanted to go through them all because it was so chaotic. You know, I'm going to keep quoting Fernando Alonso when it comes to this. You know, he said, oh, this race is going to be boring. Nothing's going to happen. Everything happened. It was so hard to keep up. And honestly, I lost track of things a little bit as well. There were some incidents that I really struggled to even contemplate, like what's happening with that. And on top of that as well, there was actually something applied post-race too, which a lot of you guys might have missed. So I'm going to go through all the penalties at the Qatar Grand Prix in 2024, explain why they were given, whether they were right or not. Well, maybe not give too much opinion on, because I think we're going to run out of time pretty quick on that. But at least like go through them, go through the punishment with it, and yeah, just kind of go through there really. So the first penalty that we had was right at the start of the race. It was for a jump start for Sir Lewis Hamilton. He basically released the clutch too early by the looks of things, kind of judged his car a little bit forward, and then he stopped and then got going again. It actually cost him some positions. He didn't gain anything from it, but at the end of the day, a jump start is a jump start. It's very black and white. If you get going too early or get out of position at your pit box, as Oscar Piastri found out at the Las Vegas Grand Prix, it's a slam dunk penalty. It's harsh, but rules are rules with that one. So he got a 5-second penalty at his next pit stop that he took, so he had to wait for 5 seconds before getting his car going, and he knew he did it straight away as well. He knew that he made a mistake because he just apologized to his team straight away over the team radio. So if the driver's admitting guilt on that one, it's going to be a penalty. He knew that straight away. The second one was for Lance Stroll. Now, he had a very short and eventful race in Qatar, to say the least. Basically, he ran, I think this was literally on the first couple of laps, he ran down the inside of, it was Alex Albon, I believe. Yeah, it was Alex Albon for that one. And just, I don't know whether it was cold brakes, cold tyres, a skill issue in the case of Stroll, I'm sure some people will be saying. But yeah, he just ran wide, going on the inside, then ran wide, and Albon just ran out of room, made contact with him, and yeah, again, it was slam dunk penalty, this one, 10 seconds, and I believe probably 2 penalty points on his license, something that we'll be hearing a lot about. That was a very common punishment by the stewards during this race. Quite a few people picking up 10-second penalties and penalty points. Stroll continued on the race for a little bit longer just to purely serve his penalty, then retired the car straight after. Another pretty pointless race in every sense of the word by Lance Stroll. The third penalty was for Liam Lawson. And by the way, I've probably got these penalties wrong in terms of the order because these events happened so quickly in terms of each other. So I'm just going through them. It might not be the correct order, but I've got all the penalties here. I'm more wise in it. I've got all the penalties, but not necessarily in the correct order. Liam Lawson was the third one on my list here. Again, a bit similar to what happened with Lance Stroll, in fairness. He just understeered going through the corner. This was on the safety car restart, I think, after Stroll's incident with Albon, and also Hülkenberg getting beached early on too. But yeah, he just basically hit Bottas off the track. Again, 10-second penalty, 2 penalty points. It's just one of them mistakes. You know, these things happen to anybody. It was a pretty bad race for RB, and in particular Liam Lawson as well. 2 penalty points on his license, 10 seconds in the pits when he came in eventually for that. Now, one of the big ones, Lando Norris and his yellow flag penalty. This is a really harsh penalty in terms of the punishment that was given. I'll explain what I mean with that very shortly. But at the end of the day, there were double waved yellow flags on the pit straight due to, I think it was Alex Albon's wing mirror falling off of his car and there being debris there. Double yellow flags, what that means basically is that you have to slow down and be prepared to stop. So at an absolute minimum, you have to slow down, you have to lift on the straight, as it were. That's where the yellow flags were, and Lando Norris did not lift. It's a slam dunk penalty for sure. And Max Verstappen spotted it as well, reported it to the stewards. Max Verstappen, of course, getting a penalty of his own during this Grand Prix weekend. I'm not going to talk about that here. I've already gone through it in another video. That was in qualifying. I'm just talking about penalties today that were in the race. So go check out that video about whether I think Verstappen deserved a penalty for what happened in qualifying with George Russell. Spoiler alert, he didn't. He really did not deserve a penalty for that. It was really, really bad by the stewards. But we're talking about the race penalties here. He was given a 10-second stop-go penalty for this, and 3 penalty points on his license as well, the maximum amount of penalty points you can get for an incident. And I have to admit, this is the harshest penalty that the stewards can give out aside from a disqualification. It was a very, very robust penalty. I would say a bit harsh, to be honest, but at the end of the day, it is a very serious thing to break these kind of rules when it comes to ignoring the yellow flags like that. And also at the end of the day, nobody else did it. Norris was the only guy that did it. So I think they're probably trying to make an example out of him. I think they're trying to stamp their authority on things. He definitely deserved a penalty, and a big penalty, but did he deserve a penalty as big as that? Arguably not. But anyway, he got rightfully punished for that. But let us know your thoughts about it in the comments below, guys. Lewis Hamilton, again, penalty number 5, pit drive-through for speeding in the pit lane. I think this was when the safety car was out and all the cars had to go through the pit lane. Now, even though it's under safety car conditions, you still have to adhere to the 50-mile-an-hour speed limit. I think it's 50 mile an hour, isn't it? It's 80 kilometers an hour around most circuits, and Hamilton sped. And tragically, after that, he actually wanted to retire the car. He just wanted to give up, unfortunately. But he did serve his penalty, and he did continue to the end of the race. Didn't score any points, though. It was a pretty bad one, to say the least, this weekend. But yeah, Albon was on the receiving end of an incident, a crash if you will, earlier on in the race, but this time he was causing one for the 6th penalty of the race, and that was a collision with Kevin Magnussen. 10-second penalty that he took in his pit stop again, and 2 penalty points for that. Magnussen very expletive on the radio. He was really going for it, in fairness to him. It was a good day for him. I think he could score points. I think he got into the top 10, didn't he, as well? But yeah, those two not having a good time on track with that one. Again, a very similar incident. If they've set the stall out early with these 10 seconds and 2 penalty points for similar incidents, all at the same corner, I think, as well, turns 1 and turns 2, those being the main passing points, they've kind of got to keep going with the stewards, so I understand it. And the final penalty, the only one that was applied post-race, was for George Russell. Now, we knew he was being investigated for a safety car infringement, and he did get a penalty for that, a 5-second penalty and 1 penalty point on his license. That did not change his overall standings in the race. He still classifies in 4th position ahead of Pierre Gasly. But yeah, it's one of them. He was punished for falling more than 10 car lengths behind the safety car. I don't know which safety car restart this was. I imagine it was probably the last one because this flashed up quite late. So basically the rule is that you're not allowed to fall more than 10 car lengths behind the car in front of you, just to make sure that gap is not too much. It helps prevent drivers basically taking the mick in terms of opening up gaps for their teammates, and obviously Russell went outside of those bounds, got a penalty for it. 5 seconds is probably fair. It's not really that dangerous, so it's quite a minor penalty. He would have taken it in his pit stop if he had another pit stop after that, but he did not go back into the pits after that, so it's applied post-race. So yeah, there we go, guys. All 7 penalties during the Qatar Grand Prix. Like I said, I've already had my kind of say on Max Verstappen and also his penalty as well in qualifying. Go check out that video if you've not already. And I apologize if it's gone a bit dark now. When I started this video, it wasn't actually too dark at all, but now it's getting really gloomy outside, so the external lights are going to have to come on, even though it's 10:30 in the morning. It's the middle of the day pretty much here in the UK, but welcome to winter time in the UK. Even in the day, it's like night pretty much. So yeah, I'll see you soon for some more Formula 1 content on the F1Chronicle.com, guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Sorry it's a bit of a longer video, but hey, the stewards are to blame for that one. They've handed out so many penalties. It's like the Oprah meme, is that you have a penalty and you have a penalty and you have a penalty. I'm telling you what, in 2025, I'll be shocked if somebody doesn't get another race ban, because the penalty points are being handed out like they're going out of fashion. But yeah, let us know what you think about it in the comments below, guys. Are they all fair? Are they all not? I want to hear your thoughts on that. And of course, keep it subscribed to the F1Chronicle.com. See you soon, guys. Have a good one.